What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Finta Fútbol podcast. After a 2-week little break, unplanned break, but happy to be back. Talk some soccer action. Sorry for that little 2 weeks off. Just the first week, just had some personal things that had to deal with. Couldn't make it that day. And then we had a interview scheduled for last week, but just a conflict of schedules didn't make it happen. But we should have the original interview scheduled for next week, hopefully. But today I wanted to get back on here and just talk some more soccer, some action that's been going on around the world, and also talk some key games that are coming up. We got some Champions League games coming up next week. The knockout stages begin, and then we also got the FIFA Club World Cup going on right now, which I think is important. So I'll start off with that. The FIFA Club World Cup, as we all know, is going on right now. For those, it's close to home kind of this time because we got a Mexican team in there. A well-known Mexican team, Tigres, who's going to take on European powerhouse Bayern Munich. Just my initial thoughts on that, it's going to be really tough for Tigres. But before we talk about just the analyzing the game and previewing it, I just wanted to take some time to just kind of point out how big of an accomplishment this is for Tigres, the Tigres club. In the last decade, for those of you who don't know or who don't follow soccer as much, Club Tigres from Mexico has probably been the biggest team in terms of winning titles. They've probably been the biggest team in North America. I think they've won 5 titles in the last 10 years under their legendary coach, El Tuca Ferretti, which is no easy feat, especially in a tough Mexican league where it's really unpredictable. Every year there could be a different champion. But just pointing out the project that they've built down there, ever since it seems like it started ever since they signed their big name in Andre Pierre Gignac, who is their star number 9, star striker, who has honestly produced so much for them, has brought them so much titles, so much joy to that city, who's really, from what I hear from fans from there, are really passionate about that team. So just quickly wanted to point that out, that this is a really big accomplishment for not just Tigres, but for the Mexican Federation, I'd say, the Mexican League. At the end of the day, they are representing Mexican soccer, and it just goes to show how competitive of a league that we have down in Mexico. And to start off with the preview, but yeah, like I said, Tigres will be facing Bayern, and whether they win or lose, it's still, I think we gotta point out how big of an accomplishment it is. It just more I wanted to say because on social media, Twitter, I pay attention to a lot of the soccer analytics, the people who analyze it, and just fans too. Have been, the Mexican people tend to do this, is just to bring down it's other Mexicans, and just because it's a team, it's not your team who's representing us. I mean, it doesn't mean we shouldn't support them. At the end of the day, they are representing the Mexican league as a whole. So I think it's important to support them, to show our support for this Mexican team. It's a big stage in world football, and we should want them to win. I've seen a lot of people on social media that they're gonna get killed. Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich. All those internet they're not real fans, because I take it from like my perspective. I'm not a fan of Tigres at all. I'm actually pretty. I'm an America fan, and they've beaten the final. They've beaten us in the final, so I kind of hold some grudges against them. But right now, I'm like, dude, this is a big thing. You know, a Mexican team is representing Mexico against one of the biggest teams in Europe, arguably the best team in the world. It's like, how do we not want them to do good or win? You know, and it's kind of similar to the situation in the last World Cup when Mexico faced Germany. It's our own people, our own fans were like, Mexico's gonna get killed. Mexico's gonna get crushed. You know, why even watch it? You know, stuff like this and that. We would hear it. I'd hear it. Social media, you know. And yeah, obviously Germany is a powerhouse, but that's crazy. That's the crazy thing about soccer is literally anything could happen. You know, on any given day, you could come out inspired and put on a great performance. Like in that game, in that case, Mexico beat Germany. No one thought it, and then we beat it. We did it, you know. So it's kind of I kind of relate those two because it's similar in what I'm seeing right now with got people on the internet, fans of other teams not wanting Club Tigres to do well. They want actually wishing them to get destroyed by Bayern. It's like, come on, man. Like you gotta support your they're at the end of the day, they're from Mexico, and I think it's important to show support, you know. So with that being said, hopefully they do well in that game. We're gonna get into a little preview of just what I think. But in my opinion, I honestly don't see Tigres being that far off. You know, I feel like they could surprise Bayern. You know, if you look deeper into it, Bayern's coming off. They're not in the best form. If you look at their recent games, you know, they got knocked out of their German Cup by a third division side. You know, if Tigres faces that third division side, I think Tigres is a stronger team, you know. In the league, they've been struggling. This last game they tied 1-1 to Berlin after they were down 1-0. So if you look deeper into the analyzing, Bayern's coming off not that great form, you know. And on the other hand, Tigres is coming off a good win against a good Brazilian team, Palmeiras. I think if you look at both semifinal games, Tigres had the tougher road to get to the final. So, yeah, I don't see how it's going to be impossible for Tigres to win. I honestly see that think they have a chance. And my points are because Tigres has a system. They know how to play under their longtime manager. He sets them up really nice, so they're not gonna get broken down easily. You know, it's not gonna be. I don't see Bayern scoring 3+ goals on this team, especially because of the form that their star center back Carlos Salcedo, Mexican international, is leading that back line right now. You know, Tigres is it's gonna be no easy pass, and I feel like people are writing them off, saying they have no chance against the Champions League winners, the best team in Europe, this and that. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, and I'm not gonna lie, Tigres I think has to play a perfect game in every sense, no mistakes, keep possession of the ball at times when they need to. They're gonna need to do everything perfect in order to get a result from this game. But like I said, it's soccer, anything could happen. And the way Bayern's been performing recently, I don't see why we can't do something, you know? Why Tigres can't do something. Like Chicharito said in the German, where's Germany? Imaginemos cosas chingonas, you know? Imagine dope shit. You know, why not imagine or visualize Tigres beating a European powerhouse? Why not, you know? It'd be a moment in the history books for sure. And who doesn't want to see, who wouldn't want to see that? I mean, like I said, I'm not a fan of them, but I definitely like to see Tigres come up with the win. Why not? Same for I mean, it's the same for if any other team was there, any other Mexican team representing our area, the CONCACAF, I would want them to do well. So yeah, that should be a good game. I'm looking forward to that. Uh, I think it's pretty early since the time differences are pretty different from Qatar and here. But that's definitely one to keep your eye out for. That's actually tomorrow morning. Like I said, I don't remember the time, but we should definitely stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a good game, and hopefully Tigres picks up a result. Um, and the next topic that I had for you guys was sorry, just it's kind of a random take I came up with when I was planning what I was going to talk about in the podcast. Just the future of the U.S. National team. It's for me. I've been following a lot of their youngsters, and they're all really, really, really good. I think they have a pool of like 30 solid players for the next World Cup cycle, which is insane. Um, just by the fact that they didn't make the last World Cup, and for this next coming cycle, it's gonna be really, really fun to watch the U.S. national team. Like I said, recently a lot of players have been making the move to Europe, just playing higher competition, higher level. You got guys like Weston McKennie, Gio Reyna, who else? Christian Pulisic, Aronson, who just scored his first goal today for Red Bull Leipzig. I can off the top of my head right now, I can't think those are the only ones that come to mind. But I mean, they're loaded. In Europe, they're playing with big European teams, really good competition. And it was just a random thing I had. I was like, bro, the U.S. national team in the future is looking stacked. And that's coming from someone who's always, I mean, I'm Mexican, Hispanic. It's always been Mexico for me, Mexico, and it always will be. But I mean, I've lived here in the U.S. my whole life, and I've never seen this much the talent that's coming up. I've never seen it, and it's crazy because a lot of those kids are Mexican American. They have their parents, grandparents were born in Mexico, moved over to the U.S. Then they were born. So a lot of them have dual citizenship, and they're choosing to play with the national team. That just goes to show how loaded they are. They see a potential with this team, with the pool of players coming up. They see, oh shit, we could really do something if we gel together. The only question for me is if the coaching. Greg Berhalter, he's an MLS Cup champion, I believe. Won it with the Columbus Crew. But there's still questions about him, if he has what it takes to lead such a talented group of players. But I mean, we always have to give him a chance, give the coaches a chance. They've been doing really good in their recent friendlies. I believe they haven't lost in any of their friendlies they've played recently or this year. I mean, the competition isn't the best, but it's gonna be fun to see when they play tough competition. This first international break that's coming up, when they can mix the European players, the European-based players, with the players from MLS. I think it's gonna be fun, really fun to watch. But yeah, that was just a random take I had the other day. is that the U.S. national team is looking really good for the upcoming cycle or whatever. I mean, just the talent in general that's coming up in the U.S. as a whole, I feel like is and that I feel like that has to do with just how soccer is, just goes to show how soccer is developing in the United States. There's more emphasis being put into it. It's expanding. More leagues are coming in, and professional leagues. Leagues who are paying their players, building really good projects, hiring great staff, coaches, and just building solid teams. And I feel like that's helped this country and the game of soccer really grow, because it's really, if you ask me, it's night and day from even last decade, 2010s, to where it is now. It's just expanded really, really, really nice. And well, I mean, at the end of the day too, you got to look at it from the bigger picture. The soccer in the US is a baby, if you look at it that way, compared to European leagues, who you got clubs like legendary clubs like Liverpool, Manchester United, who've been around since the early 1900s, comparing that to MLS, which has only been around 25 years, I believe. It's like, come on, it's, this league, this sport in this country is a baby, but I feel like it's just growing, and the potential for it to grow is so immense. I feel like not only this league, but this country is going to be a hotbed for big time players to make the move, and be like, I want to play in the US. We already see it happening with the likes of guys like Zlatan. Well, I mean, Zlatan, he wasn't in his peak, you'd say, but he was still scoring goals. But then you guys got like Carlos Vela, Chicharito Hernandez, Mexican players like Alan Pulido, Alejandro Pozuelo for Toronto FC, Spanish international. You got big names coming down to this league and making an impact. And that's just making the quality of the soccer in the MLS be that much better, It's getting more technical. There's more ideas in it now. It's not just straightforward playing like long ball. You see more tactics being put into it, more technically gifted players playing, and it's growing. It's really growing, and it's exciting to see. The MLS just announced that they're kicking off the season in April, and then there's some new teams coming into the mix. Austin FC is bringing their new franchise. You got Sac Republic bringing in their franchise. I mean, it's just growing and growing, and as a soccer fan, it's exciting to see because like I said, the potential here of kids here with talent is really great, and that's just gonna give them a bigger platform to display that, and hopefully this country grows the game and it gets as big as basketball and football is, because it definitely has the potential for that. But yeah, that was just a random little take I had on the amount of talent there is here in the US and how big the game is growing. And like we covered the Tigres game, that's a big one. But yeah, that's all I pretty much all I had planned for this podcast. Next week and for the next couple weeks, hopefully, we have some dope interviews lined up. Hopefully, if everything goes as planned, with the whole having to do it over Zoom, sometimes it creates like a conflict of scheduling. But we got some nice interviews, both pros, and a couple other ones. So stay tuned for those. Those interviews should be fun. But thank you guys for tuning in, for the loyal listeners. Also the feedback, I've had some guys hit me back and saying, just constructive. I like that constructive criticism. I know I'm not the best. I'm still working on the speaking. It's not my strong suit, but I promise you guys, with every podcast, I feel like I'm getting more comfortable and better. So hopefully this continues. We continue to be consistent with it and bring you guys some dope soccer content. On the page too, we're starting to post more cool stuff, so stay tuned for that. Continue to bring you guys some more interviews with some pro players, and just keep it rolling. So, but yeah, like I said, I appreciate all the feedback. Keep hitting me back with that. And yeah, I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.